Hello all, it's Thursday of week 6. Today we're going to read and talk about color, and we'll continue to do some hands-on work with color next week, Tuesday, specifically in the context of slideshow design. There is not a module due this week. Next week, Thursday, we'll get started on our next module, Module 3, which is working in Photoshop. That said, Activity 2 is due uploaded to D2L by 5 o'clock today. So let's think and talk about color. Here are 5 primary design considerations regarding color use. These aren't the only ones, but these 5 are the ones I want to focus on in this video. First, color carries and conveys meaning. Sometimes that's biological, other times it's cultural or historical. Second, color is forecasted. Third, color looks different on the page versus the screen. Fourth, not everyone sees color the same. Finally, color requirements are often conveyed through brand standards or industry standard specifications. And a claim that prefaces those 5 is that often we're so conditioned to color use that we don't really see color unless it's gone wrong. Consider these examples. This, and this abomination. So let's start with color associations, recognizing that they are both biological and cultural. What words or adjectives do you associate with red? Some are biological, blood is red, fire is represented as red. Some are cultural, stop signs are red, warning and danger signs are red. To take a look at a few instances of red in action, this is a still from the main page of Coca-Cola's customer-facing website. The animated banner image includes pops of red, sometimes the label of a bottle, sometimes the person's shirt. This is a still from the Coca-Cola company's corporate website. This is a letter to shareholders page in the Target annual report. Not surprisingly, the chairman and CEO is wearing a Target red tie. And all of the data displays in the report use Target red. How about pink? What do you associate with pink? Responses definitely relate to the particular shade of pink, and I think that's the case across all of these colors. But generally, typical associations are weak: feminine, girly, playful, sweet. I wish there was more time to delve into the gender dynamics at play there or the history of the color pink and its use. You'll read a bit about that in today's readings. Victoria's Secret actually registered the trademark pink and uses shades of pink for their tween teen line. This is a capture of the pink site from a few years ago and a capture from a few days ago. And they use different shades of pink for different campaigns. Not surprisingly, Avon uses pink strategically across their website. And like Victoria's Secret, they sometimes use a darker shade for specific campaigns, closer to a purple or burgundy. A couple of other examples of pink in use. This is the cover of a school food plan annual report. This is an independent agency that provides advice and recommendations. What's really interesting is that they released the hot pink report first, but then changed the color of the cover. I'm not sure if they did another print run of the report, but they did change the online version, which makes sense to me. Which shade here would you more associate with food? This is a chapter title from a city's municipal services annual report, and each chapter title was a different vibrant color. What about orange? What do you associate with orange? Most associations are pretty positive: energetic, happy, enthusiastic, creative, youthful, vital. A few years ago, McDonald's, in a response to the documentary Super Size Me, released a line of health-conscious menu items, including a premium chicken line. They use shades of orange across marketing materials and on the website. And also that really unfortunate photo. Red and yellow are appetite-stimulating colors. Not surprisingly, orange, their little color baby, is used by a lot of fast food places like Burger King. Because orange is associated with creativity, sometimes museums like the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art use orange in their materials, and this is a capture of their website years ago. And a capture of the site a couple of years ago when they were rebuilding the museum and moved the museum into a traveling pop-up format. The last few years, they've used an interesting shade of red on their site. This is the cover of an annual report by an org called Pangea, and an interior page from a 2012 Ford annual report. What about yellow? What adjectives or associations does yellow bring to mind? Yellow generally, although again this differs across cultures and definitely differs based on the shade or hue, but yellow in Western culture is associated often with cheer and happiness, with energy and optimism. It can sometimes be associated with caution. Before Sprint merged with T-Mobile, the company leaned on the yellow in their logo across their web content, both in earlier versions of their site and more recent versions before they were bought out. Red and yellow are appetite-inducing colors, so it's not surprising here we see a lot of red and also yellow in the logos of different fast food chains. This is a cover for a 2012 annual report and an internal page from another annual report. Burt's Bees uses yellow extensively in its branding and website, which is a smart play on the golden color of honey. This is an older capture of their website and their site last week. How about brown? What adjectives or associations does brown bring to mind for you? Not surprisingly, brown is often described as dirty, but also earthy, natural, stable, and warm. One of UPS's trademarked expressions is, "What can brown do for you?" And they leverage the brown from their logo across web materials, print documents, uniform and truck colors, signage, and much more. The logo of the National Park Service is brown, and they use touches of brown across their web content. I really like this business card as the photographer played with tones of sepia brown, which adds warmth to the photo, but also gives it an old look and feel. Not surprisingly, brown is a seasonal color anchored to fall and often complemented by yellow and orange. So we're seeing right now a lot of web content like this, Gap's main image and Urban Outfitters main page. And on to blue. Again, cultural associations vary and responses depending on hue or shade vary significantly, but generally, blue. What adjectives or associations does blue bring to mind for you? Across cultures, blue often conjures ideas like tranquility and calm, and also powerful and confident. But, and this is the case for every color we've discussed so far, it really matters depending on hue or shade. Slate blue and royal blue are very different. Slate blue and the deep greenish blue of blue spruce are very different. And blue spruce and royal blue are often perceived differently. That said, the National Association of EMS Physicians uses 2 shades of blue complemented and contrasted by a vibrant orange. And they use similar shades of blue, and we even see a pop of orange here on their print materials. This is the interior page of a company report, and you can see the ways they draw on the blue from their logo, from the blue products far back on the shelves to the blue shirt on the one guy and the blue tie on the front center guy to the display of blue packaging in the immediate front. IBM's company nickname is Big Blue, and they use blue across their webpage. And again, we see pops of blue across the site. For instance, if you look at the photos at the bottom, from the medical blue masks to the blue graphics, to the bright blue jacket of the person in the conference call, to the blue shirt of the child. The Institute for the Study of Business Markets uses a powerful blue, and again, here we see that contrasting pop of orange. The NASDAQ has consistently used blue across its materials. This is a really old capture of the NASDAQ site. And another where they've toggled to a vibrant teal blue, which they made even bluer and have stuck with for a few years and are still using now. And a lot of financial organizations like NASDAQ and Morgan Stanley use blue in their logos, websites, and print materials. On to green. What adjectives or associations does green bring to mind for you? And when you think of green, do you think of a particular shade or hue? Maybe something like this or something totally different? Green is often associated with soothing, natural, safe, and renewing, but also anchored to jealousy, and in our culture, money, because our currency is green. This is the cover of a National Park Service e-guide. Most mints and gum use refreshing shades of green. These are pages from Safeway's annual reports from the last 10 years or so, and we see green repeated across the photographic and graphic content. This is the cover of an annual report playing on green and natural growth. This was an interior page of an annual report, and I love the design scheme they adopted. Across the report, they included both photographic content, but also hand-drawn images in green. And here's the cover from the report. And what was so innovative about this is that there were seeds in the biodegradable paper they used for the cover. So you could actually plant the cover of the report and grow wildflowers. Purple. I think shades of purple, especially a vibrant, bright, true purple like you see on the screen here, are really polarizing. People seem to love or hate purple. What adjectives or associations come to mind when you look at purple or think of purple? Traditionally, purple is anchored to creativity and independence, and also royalty and mystery. This is the cover of a YMCA annual report, an interior page from that report. This was the royal main page in 2006. The official website of the British monarchy, and big changes 7 years later in 2013. In 2020, we see that strong royal blue still, but we also see this wine burgundy purple. Jupe went the same path that the British royalty did. In 2006, they used purple. By 2014, they were using shades of blue, including a purplish blue, and more minimalist today, but with pops of purple, mainly in the photographic content. How about white? Associations, adjectives. In Western culture, white is often anchored to good, innocent, pure, safe, and clean. Ivory soap has always been white and for decades has been advertised as 99% pure. In the past, Apple used a lot of white across their website. Kenneth Cole has always leaned on a white and black color scheme here in 2006 and in 2013. How about black? Associations, adjectives. Black is complex and is associated with everything from grief and mourning to sophistication and elegance. Interestingly, some of the companies that leaned heavily on white in the 2000s and into the 2010s have gone to predominantly black design schemes today, like Apple and Kenneth Cole. Interestingly, though, McDonald's has gone the opposite direction. For a few years, the McDonald's website and a lot of their print materials were framed by black. Today, however, the site is light, bright, and white, and I think this might have something to do with our cultural context. A year ago, black was sexy and sophisticated and hip. Today, in a pandemic context where so much of our lives have changed, black may feel ominous and heavy. Jaguar, in the past, also leaned heavily on the sexy elegance of black, but has also moved toward a lighter color scheme. Okay, that was a lot. On to the last four considerations, and I'll just spend a little bit of time on each. Consideration 2, color is forecasted. It's not coincidence that certain colors dominate certain cultural and historical moments or certain seasons. Sherwin-Williams, for instance, a major paint manufacturer, releases annual color forecasts. They've already released their 2021 forecast. Kobo, a company that makes pigments for the cosmetics industry, has released a 2020 forecast. Pantone really are the color people internationally. They set the PMS guidelines and establish global conventions for color. How can you ensure that the burnt coral you're using in a document, in packaging, on signage, or in plastics or textile dyeing is the burnt coral you want? You use Pantone 16, 15, 29. Pantone's color forecasts are so powerful that multiple industries pick up on them. For instance, in 2019, Pantone declared living coral the color of the year. And sites like iStock, one of the biggest for-purchase stock photography sites in the world, offered an entire stock gallery featuring that Pantone color, living coral. Consideration 3, color looks different on the page versus the screen, but not as much as it used to. Print colors are subtractive and run in CMYK. That's cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And color is subtracted to create different colors. Screen colors are additive and rely on RGB, or red, green, blue, and add color to create colors. Up until relatively recently, web-safe colors were a huge concern and a big issue because computer screens and software like web browsers were really limited and could only consistently replicate 216 colors. Today, however, our screens and devices are much more robust and can represent thousands of colors. Consideration number 4 has to do with how our eyes physically perceive color.
Some form of color blindness affects approximately 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women.
Here are the 3 most typical for blindness. And another display of how differently we may see color. And there are great online tools that will actually show, say, an app interface or a web page you've mocked up and how it might look based on people's color seeing abilities. My general rule is to practice color kindness. Don't exclusively rely on color to do work for you, not in an app, not in an interface, not in a report, because not everyone will see it or see it the same. And be very, very aware of how powerful contrast is in either obscuring or enhancing readability in design elements. Finally, the 5th consideration, color requirements are often brand or industry standard. If you haven't spent time with the MSU brand standards at brand.msu.edu, I definitely encourage you to do so. Our brand standards guide includes a discussion of and the PMS, CMYK, RGB, and web versions of our Spartan Green, along with the University Brand Standards secondary colors. And just about every major company or organization has brand standards. For instance, Starbucks are available at creative.starbucks.com, in which they introduce and situate their primary green, along with their brand standard primary colors and their expressive colors. And remember this is the food bar wrapper, which I argued was a cultural artifact back during our first week of class. Do you know what these dots on the label mean? Have you ever noticed these on packaging? These are printer's color blocks or process control blocks, which indicate which hues of inks were used to design the package and allow the printer to ensure quality control and exact color duplication. Imagine if you bought a case of Coca-Cola, for instance, and the cans were a reddish brick red instead of the vibrant Coca-Cola red you're used to. That's a lot to think about in regard to color, which is something I don't think we often pay that much attention to. I hope that was interesting and that you focus your eyes on the ways in which color is used across the materials and media we see every day, and it helps you to think about the cultural and historical meaning that color carries and the rhetorical work that color does. If you haven't yet read the readings about color posted on D2L for today, Thursday of week 6, head over there and do so, and please also post a reading response.